What's up, everybody? My name is Randall Forsyth, and I am with Initiated Movement Ministries, and today I'm here with...
I'm Zack from Crossworld Connections.
And what we're going to do is we're going to talk a little bit about some missions that he's been on and the future missions that he's going to be doing, a calling that has been put on his heart by God. Check it out. All right. So, here with Zack. Today we're going to talk about your mission, your ministry. What would you call it?
For now, it was just a mission trip.
A mission trip?
Yeah, that's kind of what I would put it as for the moment. I am trying to start a ministry.
Okay.
It's more in the cloud still, like ideas.
Like
We've got a name
iPhone
for it.
cloud? No, just kidding.
Yeah, I wish.
Before we get to that, I want to kind of go back a little bit. How many trips have you been on? Have you just been on 2? Or has there been more than that, like as far as mission type
It's
stuff?
been more. It's been it'd be now over 15 years worth of trips.
Holy smokes.
But I, this would be my 5th mission trip.
5th.
Yeah.
Okay.
So first mission trip, I went to Australia for 3 weeks. The following year, I went to Spain for 4 weeks. I went to Mexico for a couple weeks. Then I went to Ecuador in 2019. And this trip to Moldova would be the second one to Eastern Europe in a year. I went to Romania last year.
Oh, nice. All right, so I got a few questions down here, so I'll be referring back to my phone.
Yep.
One of the first questions is, what first led you to go on your very first mission trip?
The Great Commission, honestly.
Great Commission?
The first thing that led me.
So for those watching
that.
that don't know what that is, what is the Great Commission?
The Great Commission is to go into the world and to make disciples and to teach the gospel and
Amen.
to baptize. And so we have a task Jesus gave us.
Okay.
And that's the heart behind everything. I mean,
So was that one 15 years ago?
The very first mission
Yeah,
trip
so how long ago was that one?
2008.
Okay.
So what's
And
that?
it was to do the Great
18
Commission,
years
but there
ago.
had to be some sort of influence that kind of, well, obviously the Lord, but is there somebody, was you in a church? Were you out and about? Like, how did it come up?
Oh, so these early mission trips that I went on were with groups.
Okay.
School groups. I went with mostly friends from college that were in the biblical ministries class with me. We had this idea of what do we do between letting out from school and the start of camp. We worked at camp every summer.
Nice.
And so we always had this 3 to 4 week break between school letting out and camp. And it was like, we don't really want to go home. We don't really want to stay at school and wait for camp to start. What's an effective way we can go out and do something for the Lord that is going to make a difference? And so we had this idea sophomore year of let's take us 4 who are going to go work at camp every summer.
Yeah.
Let's pick a country. Let's connect with the church. Let's see if we can plug in, and let's see if there's a way where we can make a difference while we're there, and then let the Lord take care of the rest. So, I mean, like the outline of the trips always looked the same.
Okay.
It was us getting together, choosing a country, praying about it, seeing if the Lord opened up a way, finding connection either through friends at school or pastors that were related in the area to someone in a ministry somewhere out there. So we always had these, steps in the right direction that opened the doors that made a way.
So what you're telling me is you're not a millionaire, so you couldn't just do it. Other people had to be there. The Lord had to put people in your life in order to make it happen.
Yeah, we've always had help.
Okay,
always.
That's good. Okay.
Whether that was my friend's mom who worked for the airlines that got us cheaper tickets, or friends who knew pastor friends from college that happened to live out there somewhere, there was always someone that we leaned on along the way to get something done.
You've already kind of covered where you served so far. So the next one is, can you share one moment from a past trip that changed you personally?
Yeah. Honestly, that first trip was the most impactful for me.
Okay.
And here's why, and it's really interesting why. The Sunday before we left to go to Australia, the pastor of the church we attended in Greenville, South Carolina, was speaking from, it was the book of Isaiah.
Okay.
And we were in the 50s. It was Isaiah 51 or 52. So, I mean, very similar to kind of where we're at in the men's study group that we're in.
Ironic.
Interesting enough.
Yeah.
But the following Sunday when we landed in Australia, the pastor in Australia picked up in the exact same chapter at the exact same verse that we left off at.
Wow.
And they have no relation whatsoever. So this pastor in South Carolina and the pastor in Australia, no communication, no connection other than commonality if they follow Jesus. And to me, that spoke in a way where it was almost as if God is like, I've got this no matter what. You're not really needed.
Yeah.
But But, and this is the important part, is like, I want you to be a part
Right. That's
of the
cool.
things that are going on.
Yeah. And so me looking at that, that's like a sign like, hey, you're exactly where you need to be. You didn't miss anything.
Right.
Picking up exactly where you
Yeah.
should be. That's
That
cool.
that that and God in essence saying, my sheep are everywhere.
Yeah. That's awesome.
And there are always people who need the word. So the way that, I've got it covered. I've got it covered is almost like God saying, like, no matter where you're at,
Yeah.
no matter where you're at.
It's good. Wow.
So perfect.
That's a great
That
shot.
is awesome.
Great shot. Let's move it up there.
All right.
All right. So we've relocated.
I know.
No, that's the enemy trying to stop us from communicating about it. That's crazy. I can't believe it.
It's funny. Ministry involves all kinds of wild stuff, and expect the unexpected. Case in point.
I mean, that was like perfect scenario for expect the unexpected.
Yeah.
All right, let's see where we're at. All right, what's a story of someone you encountered that you'll never forget?
This last trip that I went on to Moldova, my first day, I didn't know anybody. I didn't know anybody going into this. And so I had prayer support back here at home, people praying for open doors, for opportunities, meet someone to reach. As I'm offloading my bag in my room from the airport, I hear this jumbling noise right outside my door. And go and check the door because it sounded like someone had knocked on the door.
Mm-hmm.
And I find my neighbor laying on the floor. I didn't know he was my neighbor. I just see this guy laying on the floor, and he dropped his Pepsi bottle, like his 2-liter that he just ran down and got from the store.
Right.
And so I look at him like, "You okay?" And he looks up, "Yeah, I'm all right. I'm all right." And I go, "Oh, you speak English?"
I was about to say,
yeah,
English.
yeah, I speak English. And he's like, "Oh, you speak English?" So, yeah, I'm from America. And so like connection right off the bat. And I think it was really cool. I'm still friends with him. I actually called him today while I was at work, and so we're maintaining our friendship relationship, and
that's cool.
Following his life and his journey and where he's going. And I think it's interesting, just the interactions that we've had together along the way. He's even the guy that you helped support
nice.
while he was there. So
I know you're talking about.
We had a lot of good conversations. Him being next door, he would always come over, and that was kind of his routine after work. And he'd get off work 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night and come over for tea at midnight. Yeah. And so it's like, always be ready.
Hot tea, I'm guessing?
Oh, yeah, hot tea. Is a thing they do. They were really into tea late.
Yeah, I tried to do it. I only do it when I'm sick.
It's a normal thing over there, come to find out. So I got used to going for walks and finding tea shops and all hours of
That's funny.
the night.
So this is probably a good one, especially for people in the future mission. They want to be in missions. They don't know if they're going to go there, but if they are, this might be good for them to hear.
Yeah.
And even people just naturally doing kingdom work. What keeps you going when things get hard?
The thing that keeps me going when things are hard, I would say over the past few years, I have learned to view life as a story.
Okay.
My kids have this book that I would read them at night, the Jesus Storybook Bible. Cool book. If you've never seen it, I mean, I highly recommend it. I know you got kids, but we would read it every night. We worked through it. I don't know how many times at this point, but every single section will refer back to life as a story. Like God is writing this story, this huge story we're all a part of, and He knows how He's writing it. He knows everything that's going to happen. We just get to be the characters in the story, and the story's never ended. It's still going. We tend to think the Bible is a closed book as far as Revelation goes, which is true.
Right.
But when it comes to God actively doing things in the world, like that never stopped. People are still coming to Christ. People are still seeing miracles happen. God is still doing things that are beyond explanation.
Yes, for sure.
And so even in the hard times, you can see God's hand as the author of everything working behind the scenes. I start to ask questions. Something's hard. What am I supposed to learn in this? What is God doing here? How is what's going on in this moment going to help the next moment? Because everything happens for a reason.
Right.
We don't go through hard things for nothing. We don't get blessed for nothing. If we're going through a hard thing, it's in order for us to comfort someone someday with the comfort that we learn to be comforted with while we're going through it. If we're blessed with, an abundance of something, it's there for us to share. It's there for us to pour out into someone else. If we're given wisdom, we want to share that with other people. If we're given truth, we want to share that with other people. Or even financially blessed, you want to share that with other people. Um, my pastor this Sunday talked about the margin, like what you have extra, what's outside of the necessity.
Right.
And so if there's something that God has given us in abundance, like why not pour out into someone else? Like it's not going to go anywhere in your pocket. It's not going to go anywhere if you leave it in your heart. It's not going to go anywhere if you keep it in your mouth. If you have something to share, and you do if you have the gospel,
Oh yeah, for sure. 100%.
then go and be a light like that.
Yeah. So now that you're saying that, obviously you've lived it. What's one example where you went through a hard time, but you were able to use that to speak into somebody's life?
A hard time in life. I think there have been a lot of hard times in mine.
Join the club.
Yeah, my parents were divorced when I was young, so that's spoken into a lot of people who have been through split homes. You tend to think everybody's got this nice, like, perfect family and everything is going well. At least I did. I don't know. But you come to find out that life's not perfect and there's a lot of broken things, and if there's a way for us to relate to someone else, gosh, we are getting sprayed everywhere.
We can rotate back.
It's awesome.
Take 3. Action. So we were talking about the example of when life gets hard. You were talking about divorce and being able to speak people's life, because outside looking in, a lot of times when you're in that position, you don't understand other people are actually going through the same thing.
Yeah.
I've even seen people in the church, leadership roles, and you just think that it's perfect, then you find out that it's not.
Yeah.
And
we're all human.
a lot of times, by us not knowing that, we think that something's wrong with us.
Yep.
So it's good to share that, like, hey, look, you're not the only one that's going through it.
Yeah, I've seen that. Experience has taught me in life that we're all human. We're all just going through the experience. We all have part of the story that God sees fit to allow certain things to happen to certain people. God doesn't see fit to allow certain things to happen to certain people. And at the end of the day, the heart of God for people is all the same.
Yeah.
You have a story to share. You have comfort that you've been given, and everybody has something they're going through at some point. We're not isolated, but the tendency is to think we are isolated. Everybody struggles, everybody sins, everybody has moments in life where they fear, they doubt, they question, they wonder what's going on, and we start to compare ourselves with each other, and that doesn't get us anywhere, because how am I going to compare myself with someone who struggles with the same thing? Yeah. Maybe I see that God has given them the strength to overcome, and they have a story to tell. They have an experience to relay. They have something that they have been blessed with that now makes sense to me. And that's why we go through messes. That's why we go through trials. It's not to hide our story. It's to share it. Yeah, because there are people that are suffering. They just don't want to talk about it. And we know that because we used to be there.
And then they turn to coping mechanisms, and then you get the people to get these addictions.
Yeah.
Alcohol, drugs, and other choice, which leads to other things like the homeless.
Right.
And things like that, and even worse, death. And so
hopefully it doesn't get that far, but I mean, that's life. You look everywhere but Jesus, and you miss it.
Yep. So now we're going to kind of lead into the ministry, because I want to ask a few questions about that. So you had this idea to start a ministry.
Yeah.
Kind of walk me through what that looked like. So here's the moment I thought of doing it, what you want to call it, and what is the purpose of it going to be.
The ministry was early on an idea last year around April. Brainstorming, what's a mission trip I can do this year? I had this idea of, I remember all these things that my friends and I used to do. My heart is right back in this area where I want to go do something. I want to make a difference. And I had this vision that was given to me as far as I like the water. For instance, so I'm around boats a lot, and fishing, and this idea of a still pond where you take a rock and you throw it into it, and it disrupts the pond. It makes a difference, but all it took is someone picking it up and throwing it. And I've learned to think of ministry and missions and even in the church body locally in the same way, we're picking up a stone of truth and we're throwing it into the crowd. Right. We want to make a difference. We want to see a change. And so last year I had that, that calling come back where it was go and do something, go and make a difference, go and see what you can stir up out there. The world is sleeping.
Do you know kind of where you were or what kind of brought that on, or just kind of just came out of the thin air?
It kind of blended together with a work opportunity back then,
Okay.
honestly. I was managing a marina in Niceville, and we were looking at areas where we could expand our clubs.
Yeah.
And I was researching bodies of water where the club's not at yet. And the Black Sea was one of them.
Okay.
And so I was thinking of, what's an area we could go? And we were looking at Odessa, Ukraine. Right?
Yeah.
War zone.
I know.
And so we're looking at that area.
You sure, Lord?
And yeah, it's like it doesn't make sense. This
Yeah.
doesn't make sense. But I was talking to the president of the company, and we were kind of back and forth on it. He's like, love the idea because we're not out there. We're in the Mediterranean Sea. They were over in New Zealand. So we had Pacific covered on both sides, Atlantic covered on both sides, most fresh bodies of water here covered. And they were looking at that as the option. And they said, we just don't have anybody who wants to go. And I said, well, I'll go. They said, you fine with going into a war zone? I said, well, not really, but
Right.
like, what are the odds? What are the,
Yeah.
God's in control. If he wants me to go, it's time to go.
I'm gonna put on the full armor of God, but I'm also gonna put on the armor. You know what I'm saying?
I'm gonna have plan B, plan C,
Yeah,
plan
for
D,
sure.
plan E on how to get out of here when I start hearing air raids and
Yeah.
stuff going off. And so we looked at all of it.
Yeah.
And they were like, it'd be very safe to go in and stick in these areas. Like we're looking at what areas were most targeted, I guess you could say. And then I sat down with the president of my company, who had also been in an area where there was a war going on one time. And he said when he was there, it was almost like you couldn't tell it was going on unless something started to happen. And then they already knew where the safe places were. And so we had a lot of discussions about that.
Yeah.
But the idea was, while prices are cheap, purchase space at a marina in order to build a company as soon as peace comes. That was
Right.
that was the hope.
Which-
And so, here we are today with the situations going
Still
on
going
as
on,
they
yeah.
are. Yeah, obviously that plan fell through, but I still had a ticket going over there. And so I'm like, well, I want to take this idea that I had and see what I could do with it.
Okay.
And so I connected with a few churches to see what can be done. Do you need help with anything? They have a summer program going on, but by the time I get there, it's going to be fall. We're not going to have time to get out there. Got a little visitor.
Went from rain to lizards.
Oh yeah.
All right.
It's good.
It's like the plagues.
It is.
He looks safe.
Where are the flies?
I know.
Anyway, branching from that idea to, fall season, what's that supposed to look like? And so it was connecting with churches, and then how do I get over a language barrier? I bought this earpiece that you put in and use your phone out. Hey, it's super useful. It is. I can
So
set my
you can
phone
understand
down.
what they're saying, but you can't translate back to them. Or do you give
I
them-
actually can. I can put an earbud in my ear and put an earbud in their ear, and you
Oh.
tell your phone, like, right ear is speaking English, left ear is speaking
that's cool.
Ukrainian, Russian, Moldovan, whatever.
Wow.
And it will bounce the conversation back. I sat and had conversations with people just as you and I are. The only awkward thing is there's like a pause in between where it's like processing, and then and it's not a one-to-one translation every time. Our words are not the same
Right.
across the board. So sometimes there'd be like an awkward glance or a did you really just say that?
Did you just call me that? No, I was kidding.
Yeah. I had a couple of moments like that where it
wow.
was like, oh,
My bad.
you called me a cow. Okay. What did I do?
Yeah. That's crazy.
But it was effective. It worked. And so we spent 2 weeks out there and just had this idea of like, I love this area. These people are really interesting and they are super orthodox. Come to find out that the way that their churches operate is the pastor just stands up front, reads scripture, everybody's dismissed. No follow-up, no prayer, no praise, no connection. And I'm looking at it with my Western influenced church culture, and I'm going, man, where's the fellowship? Where is the love? You have this mechanical get together, everybody stands around, they hear the word, but then what do they do with it afterwards? Where are we going with it? How are we spreading the gospel? How's the light shining? What's going on here? And I'm looking at the lives of these people, and I'm hearing a common story, and they're sad and they're disappointed, and they want more understanding, and they want to figure out how better to implement what they're hearing, but they just don't know how to do it because no one's sitting down with them, giving them the time of day to actually walk them through scripture, to actually live scripture out in
So they're
front of
definitely
them.
missing the part where it says be doers of the word.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. And another thing that I noticed when I was there is like if someone goes through a traumatic event, loss of something that would cause a break of fellowship, divorce, or child dies, or lost your job, you are put into this shame corner, basically, where it's almost like the church cuts you off to the
Like you're
point where,
unclean almost?
dude, yeah, like you feel isolated.
Wow.
And these people that get this experience of isolation often cut themselves off from the church, and even after a time and space, season of healing, season of recovery, or moving forward to the next chapter in life, they stay and they don't go back. They want to reconnect, but they're still in essence treated as those that are shunned, and like that doesn't make sense to me. God calls us to restore each other. Even Corinthians, where this dude has done some wild stuff with his, let's get raw, his stepmom,
Yeah.
and he's kicked out of the church for a little bit. Well, Second Corinthians, they're talking about bringing back. Like
Yeah.
he's made progress. He's grown. He's healed. Like, where's the restoration? If Jesus is redeeming us in the ultimate way to Himself, no matter what we've done,
All right.
I
think
who are we?
A lot of people, even in the church, are missing that today.
In some ways,
and I know a lot of them will look at it. They're kind of like, but are they truly changed? But that's not for us to decide.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, in the same way you look at a tree that's bearing fruit in its season, and you go, yeah, it's time to pick the fruit. It's good. I mean, like you don't judge a heart of a person. That's not our job. We're not going to sit on the throne and judge someone else. But if we look at someone's life and we're like, oh yeah, there's change there. I see genuine love. I see genuine kindness. I see genuine goodness.
Yeah.
There's something here that's different. None of us are going to show it perfectly.
So maybe they went through that pruning stage, so they had that, that bad branch where they say you need to be pruned sometimes.
Right.
And then it comes back and bears good fruit. Sometimes it bears even more fruit on that branch.
It does. And maybe even in that situation, sometimes that's why God allows us to go through something, because we do need to be clipped back.
Yeah.
We might be growing in some areas.
Well, I know sometimes people, until it happens to them, they're very judgy.
Right.
But then when it happens to them, they extend more grace.
Right. Yeah. Comforted with the same comfort you've been comforted with. Yeah. What hurts me when I'm hurting? Grace.
Yeah,
mercy,
for sure.
love.
100%.
I think God has a way of, obviously He knows our hearts, right?
Oh, yeah.
Everybody.
For sure.
So what's best going to reach Randall? What's best going to reach Zack? If I put you through this fire, you'll see this problem the way that God sees it.
That's good.
Then He draws it out, takes care of it, wipes you off, sparkles you, shines you up, sparkles you up, sends you on your way. Time to go. And
now you get to go teach somebody, walk somebody through what you went through. That's good. You're talking about doing another trip, what you said, maybe in June?
Yeah, thinking.
Oh, that's next month. Okay. So the question I had for that is, what's the focus of your next missions trip of this season of the ministry that you're in?
So the focus for this next one, I would like to build off of what was established last time. Really back to the first time. My goals, the things that friends and I, pastor and I nailed down as make connections, see if there's people that we could build bridges with, have some relationships established. So the focus that him and I discussed in taking this trip, because he's really the one that helped push me out that door.
Okay.
I was sitting there, I had this idea for a year, been praying about it for a year, been studying the area, and he goes, look, man, you just need to shut up. Like him and I sat down one-on-one in his office, and he looks at me, he's like, Zack, I'm frankly sick of hearing about this. Like, we talk about this all the time. He's like, if you're not going to do it, just stop talking about it.
Yeah.
He's like, if you got the means to do it, go. He's like, I'm going to tell you as an older brother and a younger brother. He's like, we don't want to hear about it anymore. We want you to just go do something about it. And so that day I was like, all right, man, that's the challenge. And he's right. If I'm going to sit down and be honest about it, he's absolutely right. So I bought my plane ticket that day. I booked my apartment the next week and was like, set your face forward. Look, like Jesus did toward the cross. He set his face like a flint, locked in, knew where he was going, knew what he was supposed to do. And he went.
So you're going back to that same place where you said their church was, they're read to, and they kind of just go on their way.
Yes.
So you're going to go back to that same place?
Same area.
And this time, are you going to try to get into that church and like speak to those people?
So I found out there the best connection is not immediately in the church, because they're super formal with that. Okay. It's afterward. As the people are spreading out, going back to their daily lives, you can connect with them. And there's a lot of people that speak English out there, but even more, there's a lot of people that are just excited that there's someone from America out there. And that was the thing that I found interesting, is like, not a lot of Americans go to Moldova. And so when they found out an American is in town, it was like call all your friends, invite them over for dinner. Like I didn't even, there were 31 days that I spent there.
Hmm.
2 of the days I had nothing to do. I just wanted to sleep.
Yeah.
Because from meeting my neighbor to meeting his friends to meeting another man there through Facebook who was connected with a lot of the leadership of the country, it was one thing after another. Almost every day I would wake up to a message of on my phone, Zach, what are you doing today? Do you want to go do X, Y, Z? Do you want to go barbecue here? Do you want to come to work and go for a bike ride? Do you want? And it was like at one point I didn't have to look anymore,
Mm.
and so God answered those prayers for connections, and it happened really quick. And the people that I met out there were some pretty prominent people. We met the chief residential officer that approves all construction in the city, and he asked, "What's an American doing out here?"
Mm.
I said, "Look, I really want to connect with people. I really want to build a community. I really want to teach people from the Bible." And he's like, "We don't have that a lot out here. We have churches, but we just don't have people that want to actually like invest in lives."
Yeah.
And he spoke English. I met him at a tea shop at midnight on tea. It's
That's
always
funny.
tea and really late. But we talked for a couple hours, and I have his contact information. He said, "Hey, if you have the support to come out here and you want to do the things you say you want to do," he's like, you've already got my full approval to do it.
Oh, that's normally the
And
hardest part. I mean, look here in Crestview, we know people trying to build businesses. It's been a year.
oh yeah,
You know,
you're waiting and waiting and
waiting for the city managers or whoever it is
Right.
to approve everything.
Yeah,
So
you
yeah,
got
that's
this
definitely a good
process and
good person to have on your side.
yeah.
That's good.
And he was excited. I mean, and you could gauge his excitement was genuine and just as on the same page. And it was unexpected for me. I didn't know anybody going
Wow,
over there.
yeah,
And
that's
so
cool.
the doors that were opened are these are the things that I want to lean into this next time. You know, I'd like to have another follow-up meeting with him and sit down and like what land is available, what buildings are available, because there's a lot of stuff that was. It's just what's it going to look like? How much
Right.
is it going to cost? If we plug in here to build this counseling ministry or this outreach ministry or this way where we can reach the public who's not being reached by their churches, like how can we be a light that's lacking in this area? Like, yeah, you got the word read to you, which is good. God is able to do everything with his word. He could,
Right.
but he chooses to use people. But if the people aren't willing, send someone in who is like,
Yeah, for
I'll go
sure.
do it.
Yeah.
Why not?
That's good. So how long
Yeah.
you plan on going for?
It would be for June.
The whole June. Okay.
Yes. Like if I figure might as well make the most of the time
yeah.
while I'm there. And it took a while to gain traction as far as like meeting people that were able to give me the, options of a more invested ministry.
Mhm.
I had these one-on-one connections up until that point until we're, sitting in the tea shop with this residential approver of the city. And this is the capital of the country, mind you. So it's not a small city. There's
Right.
ton of people in this city, and he's excited.
Well, that's good. I mean, you need those people on your side for sure. And the fact that he's excited about the opportunity,
Yeah.
look at how excited he really is when you go back over there.
Right. Yeah. Find out.
It's one of those things. It's like, hey, if you need help, let me know. Then you're like, I hope they don't ask for help.
Yeah.
Nah, that won't happen.
But that was the cool thing about being over there is the hospitality that I saw. People committing to, hey, are you free? Let's go do something, rather than, oh, my schedule's full. Oh, I got to work. I got this or that. I mean, I've noticed, I'm not complaining about culture here, but you do see a difference.
Yeah.
If you spend long enough somewhere else, you're going to see a difference when you come home. In the same way where if you don't know what a third world country is like, coming out of America and going there, you're going to see a huge world of difference.
Right.
You learn the things that we do well here. You learn the things that we do wrong here. It's objective at that point. You become part of their culture somewhat, and it's fun.
It's good that they seem very accepting of Americans. So let's see. So what on this trip? What will success look like to you? So you go there in June. You come back. What would success have been when you come back? Like, all right, I was able to accomplish.
Yeah. So for this second trip, the goal that I have in mind that I would consider successful is actually sitting down and having the conversation with the residential overseer of the city, finding an area where it would be most effective to have an outreach, and then really zeroing in on what's it going to cost us to do this. Like, is it going to cost, are we going to have to build something? Or can we just rent an office space that's already there? Can we, rent a house that's in a centralized location? I mean, the way the city's set up is almost like a district in the middle with 4 districts on the corner. And so all of the main things happen in center is what it's called. I stayed in an area called Riscanu. There was another area called Botanica. I don't remember the other two. It was on the other side of town. So I had a lot of walking. I walked, took the bus a couple times, but a lot of walking. And
Mm.
then my friend that I met, Vlad, had a car. So we rode around in his car if we wanted to go, visit some people or dignitaries or something like that. We met the historian, met the residential guy, and then met some lawyer. That was interesting too.
Lawyer or warrior?
Lawyer.
Okay, I was like, a warrior? Oh, that's
Yeah.
cool.
I don't think they even have an
Throwing
army
spears
over
or something?
there. One helicopter, maybe. But yeah, I would gauge success on this second trip being tangible information on land, tangible cost. What is it going to be for, what do I need to raise? I know I can't do it by myself, but if I can cast this picture vision of we're going to essentially plug into an area, immerse ourselves in a culture, almost become a part of this society,
Hmm.
and then utilizing scripture and living out Christ before them, show them what God loves, And we learned that ourselves along the way, because
Yeah.
it's not like I'm some kind of high authority, prophet or anything. I'm just a follower of Jesus myself. So here's what it looks like to be a follower of Jesus. We're not perfect. We come from backgrounds that are broken. My background's no different than most people. When you really sit and think about it, I mean, kind of piggybacking off of the question earlier,
Yeah.
we are broken.
Right.
How does
100%.
Christ heal us? We're broken people stepping into broken places to be a part of a picture that God is mending back together. And that's the
Yeah.
cool thing about it, is like you have an opportunity to be a part of it.
Yeah.
Maybe not feet on the ground alongside me.
Right. Well, that's perfect, because my next question was, how can people partner with you, whether through prayer, giving, going? Obviously, going is not going to be a thing for this next one.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, that's the best way to partner with me is I love the prayer. I mean, I saw things happen from prayer support that were completely unexpected. People outreaching to me, how are you doing? How are things going? Anything we can pray for? Those follow-up questions to know that, hey, I'm not alone.
Hmm.
I might be alone, but I have people backing me. To know that I had people supporting me back home,
Yeah.
prayer, conversation, catch up, anything you need, how are you doing on this? How are you doing on that? What's your goal? What are you trying to do? When it became obvious that there was something that I could do to support someone else that became outside of my means, being able
Yeah.
to reach back home and saying, hey, this is what's going on right now. This is what's needed. Can you help? And then
Right.
having that help almost the next day, taking care of 75% of what was needed, gave me peace of mind knowing I had friends supporting me, gave me peace of mind knowing I could pass off the help as soon as I got it to my neighbor, seeing his peace of mind.
Yeah. I know you're saying that you had that, but what is it that he needed and what was provided for him?
He needed financial support in
Right.
that instance. That was outside of my budget. I had budgeted for the trip. I had budgeted for, certain aspects of the trip that I knew would be
Mhm.
things that I needed to take care of. But when he came over one night, he was stressed out. He didn't know how he was going to afford staying in his apartment for the next month. I had gotten to know him for about a week or two at this point. So I had seen his character. I had seen, his lifestyle, and kind of gauged that, this guy's not just not trying.
Right.
He's actively trying. He's working, he's going to work, he's working all hours of the night, and like he's stressing himself out to the point where he can't do anything to take that next step to get himself through this season in life.
Yeah.
And so he came over and shared that information, told me about his family situation, how he's kind of effectively been cut off. His mom died of cancer a couple
wow.
years ago. His dad kicked him out of the house, and like
Mhm.
they barely talk now. And I did see him talking once or twice on the phone, but it wasn't like hey son, how are you? It was like,
Yeah.
why are you such a failure? And
Oh.
like you could hear him saying this.
Yeah.
Like they would speak to each other in English, and English is fairly common out there. But he needed money, and he needed $300, which I could help him with 100 of my own, but then I had enough people that
Yeah.
supported the last 200, and that covered his month rent that he needed. It covered the food that he needed to get to the point where he was going to leave, and now he's the neighbor I told you about earlier, just left Canada because he found work over there. He had enough to get over there, but to get him to that point,
Yeah.
we helped him get to that point,
That's good.
and so that was cool. Knowing that that, hey, there's people that make a difference. And he even said, like, without you, there wouldn't have been a way to get there.
Right.
And so even there to know, God had a reason, even in this relationship, all it took was some guy tripping in the hallway
Yeah,
to
that's crazy.
make an opportunity.
Right. All right. So for people out there, because as I put this out, there's certain words that might flag other people to see the video, right? One of those might be mission. So what could you say to someone who feels called but hasn't taken a step yet? So if they feel called into the mission arena but they haven't taken a step yet, what would you say to them?
Honestly, if someone feels called to do something and doesn't have, that kick in the seat to take the next step, I'd say the same thing my pastor said to me.
Quit talking about it.
Yeah, shut up and stop talking about it. Don't worry about it. Like, if you're called to do something, God's going to make sure it's
Right.
supplied.
And
that's always the concern.
And that takes me back. My uncle told me this a long time ago, and it's about kids, and I take it into a whole bunch of different areas of my life. But I remember he's like, "So when you gonna have another kid?" I'm like, man, whenever I can afford it, or when he's like, look, if you wait until you're ready to have another kid, you'll never have another kid.
Right.
There's always gonna be a reason why you can't have another kid.
Yep.
And so I kind of took that into other parts of life, So like, yeah, I'm gonna go on this missions trip whenever I have the finances lined up, when I have lodging lined up, when I have this contact lined up. I mean, realistically, are you really are you relying on the Lord? If you're gonna have these things first, because my pastor said this one time. He's like, look, some of you are saying, hey, Lord, show me, and then I'll bless you. He says, no, how about you take a step out in faith, and I'll bless that step.
Right.
So
I think that was the coolest thing about this trip is, like, I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And I honestly, the night before, you can ask a couple friends that I talked to before leaving. Like, I was still on the verge of, like, maybe I should cancel this trip because I don't know what I'm doing.
Right.
And it was just like, no, don't, calm down. This
That's
is
the enemy.
night before. Yeah, just go. What's it gonna stop?
Yeah.
What harm is it is it taking a step, taking a season, taking a minute to jump into that call? Like,
Right.
What's the worst that could happen? Money can be remade.
Yeah, for sure.
The time is lost though. If you are called to do something and you don't do it, what's that going to look like 40, 50 years from now as you look back on life and go, oh, I wonder what it would have been like if I would have done that. Paul went on 3 missionary journeys.
Yeah.
What would it have looked like if he goes, oh, I don't got enough money to sail to Greece.
Right.
I don't got enough money to go to Thessalonica. I don't got enough money to do. Like, what would that have looked like?
Well, and it kind of made me think, so if you would have backed out that last minute, right?
We wouldn't be having this conversation.
Well, not even just that. Your friend that you were able to help because he dropped a Pepsi in the hallway, none of that would have happened.
Right.
So he could have been struggling a lot more. He probably would have maybe struggled in his faith a little bit more. You were able to speak into his life.
Might have canceled his trip.
Yeah, 100%.
What if I can't get there and I need the finances now? Like, I ain't going to here.
Yeah.
Why?
So there's just so many. That's the ripples you're talking about.
Yes.
By throwing that stone, it had all these ripples out there that reached these other things.
Again, God's story.
Mm-hmm.
How is he going to write your character into someone else? And that's another interesting thing is, like, every interaction you have with another person, hopefully you're walking away with something new. Hopefully you're giving something and hopefully you're getting something so that you're not the same person you were before the conversation and you're not the same person afterwards. And then how am I going to move from here? What's the next interaction I'm going to have where I can pour into somebody or I could be poured into? And, like, because we're constantly should be changing, hopefully, right?
Yeah, for sure. Got this picture, how they say when you're praising or whatever. The cool thing about doing this is, so this works 2 ways. So when you have your hands open, you can give and you can receive.
Right.
Right? Nobody goes up there like this, and you better not be like this.
No, you're fighting.
But and a lot of times people think about it like trying to receive something, but you got to remember it's also to give.
Right.
So.
Give what you can. I mean, like, none of us are leaving with anything we have.
Yeah. I have seen a picture of a U-Haul behind a hearse, though.
That's weird.
Still didn't go with them. It went to the grave. That's about it.
In the ground, wasting precious earth.
Oh, that's crazy. I know we were talking about, 3 ways that people can help you out.
Mm.
1 is by prayer. 2 is by obviously going with you, which I can't do right now. And the other one is by donating, or funds-wise. So what does a donation, if somebody was to donate, what does that actually go towards when someone supports your mission?
It opens a lot of doors.
Right.
Like, if someone wants or needs or has an idea of how we could better interact or connect or if I can pour out into you, like
hmm
what's going to bear from it?
Right.
You know, I can only do so much by myself.
So what does
And
it typically take you, like while you're over there, how much does it cost to live over there between, like besides the flight there?
right,
So when you get there, like what's the cost? Like here, if I go to McDonald's, I'm spending $10 to $15 just for a meal, right?
$2.
Huh?
$2.
$2 over there?
Oh yeah.
I was wondering because when you said, yo, he needed $300 to get him through the month, I'm like,
Dude, it's crazy how far US dollars go over there.
really? Okay.
So for instance, the first time I
What
went
is
grocery
what
shopping,
is the currency over there?
lei,
Lei.
Moldovan lei,
Okay.
Lei. Um, I went to the grocery store right down the road from
hmm
my apartment. I bought most of the stuff I would normally eat within 4 or 5 days here in America. And what I would normally eat here costs about $80 for, one person.
Yeah.
I'm sitting there going, I probably just spent about $80 in groceries. And whatever the lei total was 640 odd some lei.
hmm
And I'm like, gosh, I just spent so much money.
Yeah.
And I'm carrying the groceries back, not really checking my phone, not opening the account to see what did I spend. I would go home and I open my app, $9.
Wow.
And I'm going, I could live here forever. And like my little money goes a long
Oh my
way.
goodness. Yeah, that's good.
And so when I started seeing, like he needs help,
hmm
how easy it is for us to support something like that, because like for him to live there for 1 month is $300.
I know people spend
I did
almost that
rent
much on
I did
coffee.
rent a little nicer apartment. I mean, because I didn't know. I was
Yeah.
just looking at pictures online. I had no idea of context. I never
hmm
put feet on the ground. I didn't know what what's this, that. Look, I'd look online and be like, oh, that looks pretty decent for $600 a month. And come to find out, I'm living on the top of some apartment tower overlooking the park. But yeah, so to answer that honestly, like money would break down toward cost of living expenses, food expenses, and
Okay.
then ministry expense. Like, what can I do to bless you? Can I buy
Right.
you a Bible?
Yeah.
Can I pay for a meal to sit down and get to know you and figure out where do you stand with Jesus right now? Where are things going on? And like take someone out to eat's not expensive.
Okay.
Two people, $12.
Are you going to be putting together
It's not
like
bad.
something where people can send you money, or how's that work?
Yes. So there are two options. Obviously, GoFundMe is
Right.
one, but I did start a nonprofit, and that I'm also learning on how to do. I'm trying to build a board of people for
What's the name of it?
Crossworld Connections.
Okay.
So the goal with that is to connect with people across the world with Christ,
Cool.
and that is long term. If they want to come to America, find a way to get them here. My neighbor is going to work here in July
Okay.
with the company I work for, cleaning
Oh,
boats.
okay.
And so we've extended him a work offer to come out and work, and he's going to accept it
The
and
guy
come
you met
out.
the first time with the Pepsi.
Tripping in the hallway.
You gotta when y'all come back, you gotta introduce me to this guy.
Yeah,
That'd be
he'll
cool.
come to church. He'll come
Nice.
to Bible study. You'll get to meet him Thursday
Sweet.
mornings. He wants to go to the zoo. He wants to go to the beach, and he wants to see what do I do here. I told him all about it. Now he wants to see it for
He's gonna come
himself.
over here. He's like, this is struggling. That area is struggling. That's
So,
crazy.
right?
Wow. That's cool.
It is a world of difference. Like, it's not as bad as you might picture over there. They're not doing bad, but like what they do doesn't make for work doesn't make a lot.
Right. And
So
you're not going over there to get people off the streets or anything. You're going over there
no.
because they're really not getting to be discipled.
Yes, they need discipleship. They need someone to come alongside them after what they've heard and be like that.
Okay, so you're saying the apostle that was sharing
Yes,
with the guy in the
he's
chariot.
got the word.
So Philip.
He's going somewhere. He's
Right.
going about his life, but he just doesn't have the understanding because no one sat down and talked with him
Yeah.
about it. And so it's I would equate that to the people in Moldova is they've got the word.
Right.
They can read it,
Yeah.
of course, but if the pastor's only reading it himself and he's not taking the time to exegete it or break it open or break bread with the people or follow up or Q&A or I don't know, Bible study, I'd heard nothing of Bible studies when I was over there. None.
You say that, they're gonna look at you like,
Exactly. Yeah, like, hey, you want to get together and read the word in a tea shop at midnight?
my pastor's gonna be mad. Like, well, we're not just gonna read it, we're actually gonna dive into it.
Yes,
and
we're gonna discuss it.
like
We're
that's what I like about the life application study Bibles, where it kind of more modernizes to how it applies to people's life now.
right.
The last questions is if someone was watching this and wants to partner with you, what are they really saying yes to?
Yes, if they want to partner with me, they're saying yes to the Great Commission call.
The Great Commission.
Maybe you don't have feet to go on the ground, but you can support someone who does, you know? And in that way, you're reaping the harvest too. Because it's workers in the field, and it's those that support from the behind, you know? How do you want to see your blessing bless someone else? How do
Right.
you want to see, you know, your heart for people expressed through someone who's able and willing to go? Like, maybe you can't right now, and that's fine. Some of us aren't in that season. Some of us don't have that chapter of life going on right now. We don't
Yeah.
have the ability to do so. God just hasn't written that into your story yet.
Right. And some people, I mean, they're just too busy with life here to be able to do
Yes.
that kind of stuff.
And to be honest, sometimes there are people that just need that, you know,
Yeah.
like some people just want to go. Some
Mhm.
people just want to do something, and they're like, well, I'm not blessed with money to do that in that way at this point. You know, maybe someday down the road I will be, and I won't have to have this conversation. I'll just go about it. But that's not this season of life, and that's not this time right now. I just have the desire and the road to go, and the doors that were open when we're there. So you want to be a part of the Great Commission? Absolutely. Yes, we could use that help,
All right.
and would love to have, you know, how far can it go if there's, you know,
Sky's the limit.
if one stone causes a ripple effect, what does
Yeah.
50 stones look like, you know?
True.
That's going to be some wild pond out there if there's a lot of people throwing rocks.
Or you could even take it in perspective as like, hey, if $100 says this small stone, what does a $500 stone
Or
do?
that,
You know what I'm saying?
exactly. Yes. Well, where can we go?
Right.
And they're excited to have someone who wants to follow up with people over there.
That's good.
And so if leadership is that excited, and my friends were that excited that I met over there and made over there, were that excited to sit down and talk about Jesus at a tea table, you know, that's one or two people with one person on one budget being able to do that. You know, this is what God opened. And yeah, it was a challenge. And yeah, it was, you know, maybe reckless, I guess, to some people. I'd take a month off from life to go and see what could happen in another country. Like I would encourage everybody to do it.
Mm.
If God is calling you to do something, man, just go. You'll see stuff that you never even imagined.
Yeah, that's good. So, if this is something that you would like to do and it's on your heart to help Zack to continue this mission for his ministry, well, we'll find the link. We'll put it somewhere, whether it's in the comments or whatever. Well, I'll make sure that you have it. But we're looking forward to it, and we thank you. God bless.
Thank you.